My name is Ty, and you're watching another episode of The Inner Gamer. Today with me, I have Simon, and they got their game here, The Gardens Between, and they're gonna be talking about it with us today. We're ready. The game looks beautiful. It's a stylized game made in the Unity engine. I want to just talk to this guy about what inspired the story, what inspired this style, and why they're doing what they're doing. All right, let's dive into it. Simon, tell me a little bit about your game.
Hi there. The Gardens Between is a puzzle adventure game. It's a story about two best friends, Arena and Frent, and they fall into a world of mysterious and surreal islands that represent memories from their childhood. In this game, though, you don't actually control the characters, you control time. So you can move time backwards, forwards, change something in the past, and have a different outcome in the future to solve puzzles.
So what gave you that idea? Because the last time I think I saw this kind of mechanic, or something even close, it's not even, it's not even close to it, but it was like a Prince of Persia and the Sands of Time, where you could kind of replay the last action. But this game is a full-on kind of version of that, where the entire thing is you playing forward and backwards. And what kind of inspired that, where you're not giving characters or giving people the full control of running, jumping, and all that stuff, where you're more interacting with the entire scene and kind of trying to figure out what's going on in the world?
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit more like observation.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening here? What does this mean?
And that's
totally.
what kind of draws me in. So what inspired
Awesome.
that?
Well, if we go back far enough, the first idea was actually from us chatting about how you would turn Minority Report into a game. So like this scene with Tom Cruise like switching through memories. We're like, how would you do that as a game? And we go on this long journey of exploring different ways of manipulating time. I think if you, like, a good example of an early prototype is basically Where's Waldo, I think it's called in the States.
Okay.
And it's like an animated 2D scene, lots of stuff moving everywhere, it's chaos, but you can watch these characters and see where they go and see what they do, and they give you clues and hints as to like things to find. You had to find stars. And it was cool, and it actually inspires like two of the gardens in the game, like they're sort of like that concept is the puzzle in the game. So it did make it into the final version, but we couldn't turn that into a big enough world. It wasn't like meaty enough. So we explored that much further, and we found like it's almost like looking at a moment in time and inspecting it from all angles. And so like it sort of turned into this like 3D garden world that's like a stack of rocks and memories.
And that's kind of how I felt when I was playing it, where in the sense that when I was looking at it, I stopped kind of trying to control the players, and I was trying to figure out what was going on in the world. I was looking at the objects in the water, like, why is there stuff in this water? Why are they in this different world? And it kind of makes you sit back and kind of enjoy the game more. And it's not like, where's the next enemy that I need to fight or something like that. It's a weird feeling, because like, I come from this, let's get to the next one, let's get to the next one, and you're kind of sitting back and you're enjoying the scene, you're enjoying what's going on, and I really appreciate that. What kind of inspired you guys to kind of take the controls out of the player's hands and put it more onto the scene, and such emphasis on the scene, and what inspired that?
Well, first I'll say you're our kind of gamer. Like, people who take the time to read the environment and observe and appreciate the detail, like, that's actually what we're trying to create here. Like games like Journey, that is actually about the experience of being there, and it's not like crushing enemies and like destroying the game as fast as possible. It's like you enjoy and you appreciate the experience itself. So that's a little bit of where we came from. But I suppose like when we started making these like prototypes, we realized like it feels like you're like peering into this moment, and so we wanted to have like interesting detail in that space that like has a greater context. So like each of these islands represents a very specific moment that Arena and Frent shared together and has some real great significance to them. So like that's why you have all these like strange, surreal, huge objects, and they're strewn about the place, but they have like, they connect the dots for the player, and you like can see their friendship evolve, and you watch them go through all these like trials and tribulations and learn something from each other, pushing each other's boundaries. Climactic ending that I wouldn't spoil.
I don't want you to give anything away. So like with that, I'm just thinking about the story, because you're taking from this normal world where you're sitting, they're in their treehouse, and you're transported into this magical world. And so like, what is the art style that you guys were going for? What were some of your inspirations when it came to art for this guy?
Well, I'll just touch on like the dropping into this magical world thing first, like because that's sort of a good a way to think about the story. When we were thinking about the kind of story we're telling here, it's like a Alice in Wonderland story, so like a voyage and return, where they're in the real world initially, but a magical event transports them into this foreign, strange, surreal world. And the journey through the magical world is actually sort of like an analogy or parallel for like dealing with an emotional, complex thing that they need to process. And by processing that and coming to terms with it, that's when they can return to the real world.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of lessons that I guess that you're going to have to play the game to kind of figure out.
Yeah.
And I can already imagine, I can already see that it's going to be a great adventure to pick up and play. So yeah, on that note, I want to dive into like a different kind of side of it. So when it comes to gameplay, how many hours are we looking at gameplay wise for this game?
So I'd say like 3 hours is a good sort of like benchmark, but I mean, someone like you might take some more time because the story's entirely told through the world. There is no words, no text, no dialogue, no speech. So like to read the story is up to the player to take the time and appreciate it and learn and read from the environment. So you could take longer, or if you like to crush puzzles, then you could do it in like 2 or maybe a little bit less.
Okay, so is there like a super hard difficulty level, or is it just one difficulty level?
Not really. We wanted to build like a really specific story, like a finite story. Like this is what we wanted to tell. So it is like a linear journey, and it does have like just one kind of like playthrough experience, but we're trying to build like a really impactful, meaningful experience. So like every detail is so well thought through and like overthought from our point of view. That's why it took 4 years. So it's like, we're trying to respect players' time as well. Like we don't want to just like add padding and fluff.
Hours,
So like
there's some DLC content for you guys.
So it's short, but it's like impactful short, I guess. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Well, it was lovely to talk about your game. It was lovely to see. Tell people where they can pick up the game if they want to grab a copy.
Awesome. It's on Switch, PS4, Xbox One, PC, Mac, on Steam. It's called The Gardens Between, and it's out right now. Let's go grab it.
That is awesome. Thank you very much, man. It's out on the Switch, which is crazy because that's a lot of hoops you have to jump through for Nintendo. That's another level of respect. You're not just heading for Xbox and no. We're going Nintendo. That's hardcore right there. So yeah, man. It was nice talking to you guys, man.
You too.
I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate what you guys do here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Watch it out.